everybody. This is Jack Dennis. I want to welcome you to the 2023 fall and 2024 winter session of my JD's Wide World of Fly Fishing and Tying. We've got a lot in store for you. I'm going to be talking about my summer adventure guiding in Wyoming. I came back mid-October from spending 3 wonderful months taking my friends down the rivers. A lot of interesting things happened, some things I've never seen happen, which is always so fun, and the characters that I spent time with. We're also this year going to be adding more fly tying. I've got a really special tying video that I'll be sharing right off the bat with you from a dear friend that passed away a few years ago, and I was lucky enough to find some video so I can share. One of the things I like to do on this channel is share people maybe you've never even heard of, going back into the history of fly tying and bringing out some ideas and tires that maybe didn't get national recognition, but really influenced a lot of people in their own areas. One of the big things that I want to do this year, and I've been Randall Kaufman and all my friends, I tell them all these stories when we go fishing, and everybody wanted me to do a book. And I've done 3 books. I know how hard it is, and at 76, I want to spend the time with my children. This year was really special, one playing baseball and getting a chance to get back doing a little coaching, which was really fun. Another one is now a professional bike racer, a senior at the University of Utah. And another one, believe it or not, is guiding at the age 19, 2 years at Two Rivers Fly Fishing Company in Pinedale, Wyoming. It's a outshoot of the Great Outdoor Shop, which we helped found with Robbie Garrett so many years ago. So I had a real tie to Pinedale, Wyoming, one of my favorite places. For many of you know that I came from Jackson and had a business there for over 60 years. But you're going to learn more about what I've done following my world of fly fishing. One of the things today, you might notice that I'm wearing black, and that's in honor of Bobby Knight's passing yesterday. I spent a lot of time with Bobby Knight, and in fact with a lot of college coaches. I was really lucky in the 70s and early 80s to do seminars, fly casting seminars at the NCAA various coaching camps where they would be working with coaches, and they got together, and one of the ones that I had tutored was Denny Crum, who became a fishing companion, and he passed away in May. So both of the 2 guys that I spent a lot of time fishing with and a lot of time as part of their lives left us this year. It's sad. I look over there and I see the Louisville hat and the Indiana hat that both of them gave me. And let me just reflect a little bit on it. It was 1979 when Bobby Knight got booted out of Puerto Rico on a altercation that he had with the U.S. Basketball team doing some exhibition games in Puerto Rico. I get this call from my second father and lifelong friend, announcer Kurt Gowdy. Of course, he's from Wyoming, and we have had a long relationship. And of course, he passed away a number of years ago too. But he said, "Look, Jack, I've got a favor I need you to do. You've got to take care of a friend of mine. He's going to arrive on an airplane at 4 o'clock. I'm not telling you who it is, but you'll know when you see him. I want you to take care of him and get him some fishing. Essentially, I want you to hide him from the world." I had no idea what Kurt was talking about, other than I knew that everybody was looking for Bobby Knight. He flew out of Puerto Rico to Louisiana. The Puerto Rico officials wanted him arrested. The governor of Louisiana wouldn't. And all of a sudden, walking down, I'll never forget that image, of him walking down the jetway. It wasn't a jetway. It was just it rolled up stairs, and there he stood, open in there. I got in a t-shirt, hair all, I mean, beard and everything. He looked pretty bedraggled. I said, "Oh my God, it's Bobby Knight." And he says, "You know I'm not here." I said, "Yeah, I understand." And I promptly took him up to another character that I got to know that basketball has always been my passion besides fly fishing. And that was Herb Cole, who at that time was the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks and one of the most avid fans and believers in basketball that I've ever met. Herb had a ranch up there called the Red Rock Ranch, and he was assigned to take care of Bobby Knight until the dust settled. So I took him up to Herb, and Herb eventually became a senator, and everybody knows him from his family business, Kohl's, and eventually sold the Milwaukee Bucks, but was alive to see him win an NBA championship. So let's get back to Bobby. Bobby wanted to fish. He says, "Look, I've always wanted to fish with you, but I never felt I knew enough about fly fishing, but I think I do now, and I want you to help me get better." So during that time, we had a chance to fish all the different places in Jackson. Several of his coaching friends that knew he was up there came up to visit him, and eventually he came back to face the music and on to what could better say is a illustrious career in basketball and coaching, winning some national titles. But it went further than that because I really enjoyed Bobby. He came back for a number of summers. He was really interested in Montana, eventually getting some property both in Wyoming and Montana. And he was like everybody's fishing. He did television shows. He just really was a great spokesman for fly fishing, and eventually would show up at the Federation of Fly Fishing conclaves. And throughout my life, he would come in and leave me little notes, or we'd get together. But my friendship for Denny Crum also wove into it. Denny, the first time I ever saw Denny in teaching to fly cast, he threw 80 feet of fly line on his first cast. And I remember Mike Lawson and he said, "I got to learn how to fish." So he came up and Denny and I had only had that one fly casting lesson, yet we met kind of when my traveling and doing speaking engagements, and kept in touch. He said, "Look, I got to go fishing. I know how to spin fish, but I want to really get into it." So he gets there, and Mike's going to row us down the river. And he says, "Okay, I need another lesson." Absolutely. Went back, gave him a lesson on this bridge, went down there, and absolutely made beautiful casts. Beautiful casts, and the fish would come up and take the fly, and Mike goes, "Well, set the hook, set the hook." He says, "I don't know anything about that. I've never fished." He says, "Well, how in the world can you cast like that?" He says, "Well, he taught me, Dennis back there." Well, eventually he caught his first fish, and he was so hooked that we went fishing all the time. He ended up buying a place on Henry's Lake, both during the time he was coaching and afterwards. And it was his way, as Bobby's, to get away from the pressure of coaching basketball. But I want to tell a couple of stories about Bobby to really understand. When Bobby was alone and with them, you couldn't ask for a more quiet, totally different man on the trout stream. And he was a great man with jokes. We came out one time, the guide with a motorcycle helmet, because he was hitting the guide with flies so much. And I have some old photographs showing him holding a basketball out on the stream to relate the two sports together. But probably the most memorable, I have two memories of Bobby that I think is really important. We were sitting in a restaurant, and one of the owners came up, was a real basketball fan, and said, "Bobby," he said, "I just heard that Isaiah Thomas signed with the pro team." And at that time, he was just in a couple of years And he says, you must feel really bad about that. And Bobby said, no, I don't feel bad at all. He said, you didn't go to recruit him to a one-room house that 8 people lived in. And he said, man, if he can make the money. But you know, a lot of people don't realize that 98% of his players graduated from college. He was big on that. He never had a recruiting violation. And you know, when he threw the chair, all he was doing, there was a lady there that needed a chair. So he tossed it over to her. And that I always got a great laugh out of that. But really, what the real story was, and Denny Crum told me this, is that there was a referee that just was terrible and was not up to the standards of the NCAA. And the chair throwing incident was done to wake up the fact that they needed to do something. And this nobody ever reported. They did replace the guy. They took him off the refereeing circuit. And Bobby got what he wanted, but with a lot of controversy. And I'll have to admit, Bobby liked the limelight. He liked it, but he in his own coaching style. Well, Denny had a different coaching style at Louisville, where he was tutored, of course, by the great coach John Wooden. And one of the neatest things ever happened to me is both Bobby Knight, Denny Crum, and Gary Cunningham all were affected by John Wooden. And I got the Pyramid of Success Award handwritten on by John Wooden, given to people that in their lives have done coaching and were exemplary. And of course, mine was coaching people on fly fishing, eventually coaching the U.S. fly fishing team, but coaching in basketball, just trying to. And I looked at my business as coaching. I had wonderful players. It was like a team. Jeff Currier, Scott Sanchez. We had Larry Bashford as a manager. All were involved in sports, and just a great crew. Everybody managing their own department like it was their own. And that's so important in life. You don't get to anywhere without the people that help you. And in Bobby's case, Con Smith was his assistant coach, and Con was with him when he won the championships. A great close friend, and I know that he's going to take this very, very hard. But we all knew with the dementia coming that this day would happen. And the other story that I have about Bobby is really, really shows the heart of this man. We were driving to go fishing. We had the radio on, and all of a sudden there's a news flash that comes on, and it's one of his players, and I believe his name was Turner, was in a car accident, was seriously injured. Bobby said, "Stop. That's it." We're headed to the Falls River in Idaho, about 30 miles from Idaho Falls. He said, "Look, take me to the airport right now." And we went right to the Idaho Falls airport, and he was on the plane within an hour, heading back to where the accident was. And he did wonders for this young man. There was like in everybody, there's two sides. The sides that maybe the public see, and then there's the side that you're close friends. And then that was always the way with Denny also. We had a wonderful thing. He helped me by when I was coaching the U.S. fly fishing team. He came and talked about managing the U.S. Olympic team and some of the things that make you a good athlete, a good participant. And I think that really settled when the U.S. team that was originally on that team that was that both Denny Crum and a lot of other people helped form, won the senior championships last year, and this year they got second with Pete Erickson, who was on the original team when I started out winning the gold medal. And this is a senior team that participated 20 years ago. So it was really exciting. And it's too bad that Denny did know about them winning it last year. But Denny and I had some great. One of the funny things about it, he loved to play poker, and he got so good at it that he played in the championships in Vegas, and it did really well. But we'd go fishing, and we had a guide, and he said, "Wait a minute, we gotta make sure the guide picks us up at 9 o'clock, not 8 o'clock, because I've got to go online and play poker so I make the money for this trip." And he did it every time. I couldn't believe it. I didn't have to pay for anything. But, two coaches that loved fly fishing all the way up to their deaths. A great friend of theirs, Chad Miller of Denny's, took him out during the dementia time and on the river. Again, there were people there for Bobby as they were for Denny to help him through the tough times in their lives. Denny suffered from about 3 strokes, and that was tough. And Bobby with the onset of dementia. So anyway, I'm sharing stories like this. I know this is a long one. I hope you enjoy that. But be watching as I bring to life some of my stories. And coming up real soon will be rope dubbing from a very interesting man that you'll enjoy meeting. Until then, enjoy JD's wide world of tying. Well, actually, fly fishing and tying. I get it right. Well, you got to realize I'm old. Anyway, we'll see you on the circuit. Bye-bye.